How's it going, everybody? Volume looks good. And I'm in the wrong spot. So today we're going to start the book of Daniel. So that means I'm off here too. So it's going to be 6:14. So the book of Daniel, this is going to be our 18th study and to 22. Okay. So we're just going to move right on over to, yeah, we just finished Revelation's 17th study. And today the Lord has allowed us to begin Daniel. If I'm not mistaken, it's just like 1 through 6, isn't it? Or 1 through 5, I want to think. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Yeah, it's just 1 through 5. So we're off and running. Whoops, let me swap these sticks around. So I had a friend ask me today about the end times and a few specific questions, and I was like, if you want to really get to know the end times, just read Second Thessalonians 2 through 11, Revelation 13, all of it, and Matthew 24, 1 through 37. The meat of it is, kind of in the middle. It kind of begins around when you hear of wars and rumors of wars, and then getting sort of into verse, I don't know, 30-ish. But just read 1 through 37. And also, I would say Revelation 17, um, really about 1 through 13. That'll give you the gist of it also. Might as well send that to this person too. By the way, I've been neglecting I haven't had time to really get in more into November 7th, but it is growing. And one thing that's very interesting that popped in my head is that the rifle gunshot to right ear, if you're just looking at dates within a calendar of a year, don't worry about what year it was. Just put them all within one calendar year. Rifle gunshot to right ear, July 13th. Go up 2 months, back down 3 days. Rifle gunshot to neck. Were any of these REAL dot 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 NO exclamation point? But work with me here, of course, as we go through all the world being a stage. Now go up 2 months and back off 3 days, and you do have November 7th. So it's definitely a cipher. Um, I also happen to, yeah, that date is tied to, yeah, that's all. I don't know. I don't need to say that. So you look at the 138, which is Donald Trump and Simple Gematria, the 138 minutes for the film Angels and Demons, which to me is like the abyss being opened. This November 7th, rising on November 9th, May 4th, 2009 date, Angels and Demons, 808 in the URL. So 5:15 and 5:4. The 5:15 date to the 86ing date of November 7th, it's a perfect 6020 days. 602 is Revelation in Strong's Concordance. Look at the weeks. A perfect 860 weeks perfectly. Look at the hours, begins with 144. End times number for the end times church. Revelation, Strong's Concordance 602. There it is. And let's go to Blue Letter Bible. It's my favorite. It's from the word apocalypsis, which is what Revelation is all about. And you'll see it in Revelation 1:1, the revelation of Jesus Christ, G602. So what did they do with the Godfather? 602 in the days, right there in the days. On the rising day, when he's the Godfather, Donald means world ruler. Don means boss. Wow. This is a big deal. When I was watching The Apprentice or Celebrity Apprentice, and I would watch him walk with that long coat, I was always like, because I never missed a show. Couldn't take my eyes off of it. Very intrigued. And now I know why. It's the charismatic, the charisma, it's the spirit. And look at the minutes 866 88. 86ing the 88 with the 66 in the minutes, which is the book of Revelation, 66 book of the Bible. 68 is his name and Antichrist in reverse reduction. I believe it's one of the four base ciphers. So what a big deal that is. Angels and Demons, 138 minutes. Not Godfather, that's Angels and Demons. The Godfather, I need to find that. But Angels and Demons, a direct 602 for Revelation. Where is my Godfather match? Mesh. Because it came out in 72. There it is, 324. On the rising day, it's 195, 88 in the days. 195, 86 on the 86ing day. It's perfect. That's why I really wanted to find that for you. One's a premiere date, one's a wide release. The other for The Godfather is 314. 195, 98. The 98th verse is Revelation 6:2, the white horse crowning verse, which ironically is when you're living in the 602 or in the book of Revelation in real time at Revelation 6:02. The rider on the white horse, which is all about the death and spiritual rising. You look at the weeks, it's 2799 weeks. So 79 and 99. So death and rising are all there built into the weeks. Ooh, 53 years, 7 months, 26 days, 726 is Antichrist in the English gematria, which is 6 times English ordinal or 6 times simple gematria. And the score of the Gators Hurricanes. Goodness gracious alive. What in the world? What in the world? What in the world? What in the world? Sicario. So Sicario was June 11th, 2018. 122 minutes. 22 again. The 22nd prime number is 79, which is Murder in Simple Gematria. It was District 22 on the school bus that kicked off the Dark Knight. So let's go to Sicario. It's June 11th, June 29th. June 11th, it's 2706 days. And it's But if you go to the other date, the 629 date for Sicario, which is your United States release date, it's 2688. 88 is Trump and Simple Gematria. Remember, I told you 68 it's 88 months, by the way. It's 384 in the weeks. 338 is death. 38 is murder. We've shown you that in previous videos. But the 68 we showed you in the previous video. Gematria calculator. Let's do it again, just for effect. His name is with the middle initial in reverse reduction, one of your 4-base ciphers. There he is, 68. Same cipher, key in Antichrist, 68. So when you see them code Sicario, which theme song was The Beast, remember that ominous music, The Beast? 688. 68 is also a reversal of 86, but it'll be 2. And I told you 38 was death and murder. So if I say death, it's 38 in ordinal. If I say murder, it's 38 in reverse reduction. So 38 is death and murder in one of the 4-base ciphers. So 38, which remember his number is 138. Talk about winning death, winning murder, the one. The 918. Anyway, so let's get rid of that, 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 get rid of that. Whew. So I don't know. That's pretty much where we're at. So I want to let's get into tonight's Bible study as we open the book of Daniel. Thank you, Jesus, for allowing us to do that. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. And the king spake and said unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain, so just bring me the very, very, very best of the Israelite children, that we could bring them up, raise them up in our belief systems. So we're going to take their brain power and train them up in our ways, and they will better serve us. So the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and of the king's seed. So some of them are also of the exact bloodline of the king and of the princes, children of whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom and cunning and knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace. So once they're trained up in all these different belief systems of theirs, they would be able to stand before the king and serve him with knowledge and wisdom, wise men and so forth, and whom they might teach the learning of the tongue of the Chaldeans, who were basically astrologers. Chaldeans were astrologers. Yes, Chaldeans were famous astrologers known for observing celestial bodies, predicting future events, to the point to where the term Chaldean and astrologer became nearly interchangeable. There you go. So Daniel was trained in astrology, and I was a massive expert layperson astrologer. I had all the, back before the Lord called me, I was raised in pagan Rome, which showed me a zodiac wheel on a paper stapled yearbook at the pagan Rome school that I went to. And so they were just fine with astrology. So I was good with astrology, and I would have Protestants tell me that stuff's evil. And I was like, no, my church is fine with it. That's where I first saw my first zodiac wheel. Watching the Know Your Enemy series, 10 and a half hours on YouTube. I had the DVDs, watched it all, but when I finished the 3 chapters on pagan Rome, I immediately quit my astrology and quit that pagan Roman church and began to be a Protestant. But I was a fake Protestant with free will up until the Lord called me to the truth in 2017 by his grace. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat, which is meat means meal or the food. So basically they were, as the king's meal was being prepared, they would prepare a lot of it for others who sat at the king's gate and so forth. So these kids or these, adolescents, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year olds, however old they were getting this amazing food. And so it says, and the king appointed them, so the king wanted them to eat off of his training table, the same type of food he ate, the good food. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. In other words, they'll be in tip-top shape, kind of like college football players, they get that training table and they lift weights. And then at the end, they're able to stand at the NFL combine, stand before the owners and the coaches and the general managers. And, they're ready. They're ready for the NFL. They're ready for the big leagues. Let's continue on in John, where this is definitely the quintessential gospel chapter of no free will that we get into in verses 39, 44, and 65. So it'll be spread out over 1, 2, or 3 days. Then those men, when they had seen the miracle that Jesus did, said, "This is of a truth that a prophet that should come into the world." When Jesus therefore perceived that they would come and take him by force to make him a king, he departed again into a mountain himself alone. And when the evening came, the disciples went down to the ocean and entered into a ship and went over the sea toward Capernaum. And now it's dark, and Jesus wasn't with them. And then the sea started getting rough with great winds. And when they rowed about 5 and 20 or 30 furlongs, so 25 or 30 furlongs, however long that is, they saw Jesus walking on the sea, getting closer and closer to them, and they got scared. But he said unto them, "It's me, don't be afraid." Then they willingly received him into the ship, and immediately the ship was at the land whither they came. The following day, when the people which stood on the other side of the sea saw that there was none other boat there save the one wherein his disciples were entered, and that Jesus went not with his disciples into the boat, but that his disciples were gone away alone. Semicolon. End of verse 22, end of today's lesson. I'm glad you're here. I love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.